Wow, I haven't done anything like this in a long time. For those of you who knew me back in the early aughts, I used to go on Facebook Live and go on rants, and I had a short lived YouTube series called Piss Post. So it's kind of weird doing this again so many years later, but I have some stuff that I want to get off my chest. It disgusts me to think right now that there are people that are going to church, and I can only imagine what the sermons are going to be about with everything going on in the world right now. But I know one thing that's going to happen in every single church, and there's going to be a prayer said, and at some point in that prayer, they'll ask their God for forgiveness. I can tell you, everyone can ask for forgiveness, but not everyone deserves it. I was raised in an evangelical Christian family, and I was homeschooled through my most formative years. My only social interactions were home and church. So it was very sheltered, and everything was kind of curated. But we believed the Bible was literal, we spoke in tongues, we were anti gay, we were pro life, all the stereotypes that you can think of. But from the time that I went back to public school in eighth grade to the time that I graduated, I had learned enough just by interacting with other people from different walks of life to know that a lot of what my family had raised me to believe about other people was wrong. And my Christian values that were taught to me were nothing really more than Republican talking points that were rooted in fear and bigotry and had nothing to do with the Bible. So, 5 years, 14 to 18 years old. That was really all it took for me to know that something was wrong with what we believed and the way that we voted. Just enough for me to go to the voting booth and vote for Barack Obama, which was terrifying because we had been taught that voting Democrat could result in eternal damnation, and that's not a joke. We were told that our souls would be condemned to hell for voting against Republicans, and we would be held accountable for the very soul of our nation. But I was willing to risk it. And I say that to say this: I will never forgive a 3 time Trump voter for the simple fact that there is no excuse. Because if I, as an isolated child indoctrinated and groomed their entire life, had enough critical thinking skills to see a red flag correlating our religious beliefs and political beliefs that I chose to vote differently while at the risk of being shunned by my entire family, then what is their excuse? Especially the ones that are in their late 20s, 30s, 40s, so on. What is their excuse? So when I see all these people on social media, from common citizens to influencers, podcasters, political pundits, politicians who have spent the past decade sucking off Trump, now tucking tail and crying that they are sorry and forgive them and they can't believe they were duped and they're a victim too, no, absolutely not. It's too late. I was scared my eternal soul would be damned if I voted against the Republican Party, and there are those that are physically dead now because you voted for the Republican Party. A lot of them. A lot of them. And that's not to say that the Democratic Party isn't guilty, because I got shots for them too, but that's not the topic today. I know people that voted for Trump the first term and within a year realized their mistake. I know people that didn't learn the first time and voted a second time, but after the insurrection, they were like, that's a red flag. But the 3 time Trump voters? If you're coming to your senses, I am so happy for you that you finally get it. Good for you. I don't care though. You cannot do enough personal reflection or work for the rest of your life to account for the human lives that you cost due to your willful ignorance. There's no forgiveness for you. There's no salvation. And personally, you are responsible for the blood on your hands and all the blood that will be on your hands because this nation is permanently scarred by Donald Trump, MAGA, and by all the idiots who voted for this, especially the ones who voted for it 3 times. And you did it with such arrogance. We're gonna own the libs. Congratulations. You did it. You really got one over on liberals. And there's a global rising body count to prove it. So I don't know if there's an afterlife, and I don't know where you 3 time Trump voters are going to go if there is one, because you're not getting into heaven, and hell really don't want you neither.